Tongie. I'm from a little town called Columbus, Mississippi, and I've come all the way here to show you exactly how you can live abundantly. Fear is nothing. You hear me? You can do anything you put your mind to. This is Dr. Tongie. I'm from a little town called Columbus, Mississippi, and I've come all the way here to show you exactly how you can live abundantly. Fear is nothing. You hear me? You can do anything you put your mind to. I'm your girl, Dr. Tongie. We're going to do life together. Hey, good evening, good evening, good evening. It's your girl, Dr. Tongie. On this show, you know me as Friend Tongie. And welcome to another edition of Dr. Tongie. And I am so excited. Can you tell how excited I am? I'm excited because we made it. We got up this morning and whatever we were faced with, and I had some challenges, by the way, we were able to say, you know what, God, I trust you. We put one foot in front of the other and we made up our minds to live intentionally. So for that, I do not take it lightly or for granted. And you know how I do it, right? I like to stop to say thank you. Thank you so very much for showing up for your new adopted daughter. I am so grateful. I am grateful that you allow me the opportunity to come into your homes. I'm grateful for every school that said, yeah, I guess you could bring a cupcake or two by, and I was able to just love on the children and the teachers and administrators. I'm grateful for DBS. Shout out to Linda. I'm grateful to Junior, who is shouting in my ear, stand by, stand by. I'm excited. I'm excited about life, and if this is your first time joining me, then you know a little bit about my story. Well, if it's your first time, you don't know anything about my story, do you? I want to shed some light this evening on an amazing gentleman who is prolific, he's heroic, he's a God-fearing soul, he is a man that I'm so honored to have on the show tonight, and I don't want to sweat or cry, so I'm trying to be cool this evening. But first, before he comes up, I want to take time to say to the loyal supporters, and you know who you are, thank you. Thank you so very much. Every time I see someone in town that, you know, knows who I am and they take time to smile or tell me, you know, thank you for doing what you do. I don't take it lightly or for granted when I have an opportunity to meet people. I really do not. I love meeting people. I do. And your encouragement, your prayers, those destiny helpers that, you know, kind of let me know that, hey, you know, we got you. I'm praying for you. They send DMs, and I'm sorry that I don't answer every DM. But I do get them, and I cherish them. And those moments when I'm having human moments, I get an opportunity to look at a DM and tell God, thank you. Thank you so very much for picking me up in the spirit. Now, for those who may be curious this evening, because you saw the advertisement and I told you that this gentleman is going to be on the show, thank you for showing up. Seriously, thank you very, very much. Now, if you have been on this journey with me, you know that I live my life by two mantras or two principles, and one is faith and my walk. And those two are very, very important to me. See, many years ago, I was faced with some of life's most sinister moments, from molestation to homelessness to every assignment that I had to go on. You know, there are times when I'm like, Dad, I just wish you didn't trust me so much. But he did. And even with some of the choices that I have made, I made some bad choices, man. And there's this thing called grace and mercy that covered me and made me realize that no matter how many times I fall, I can get right back up. I don't intentionally do things like that, but there have been times that, you slip. And for those who may find yourself in a fallen state, I've been there. I know exactly what that looks like. See, I'm excited about tonight because this is a prayer that I have been praying for many years. One of my prayers were, Dad, would you have mercy on those who are spending their first nights behind bars? Would you grace those, oh God, who are guilty? And would you release suddenly and immediately those who are being accused for something that they just did not do? And when you make petitions and prayers and supplications like that, you don't just do it to do it. You do it with intention that He hears and He answers. So to have this gentleman on this show this evening, oh dear God, I do not want to cry because I got on mascara tonight and I don't want my mascara to burn my eyes. But he is someone who is, like I said, a man of valor. He's prolific and he's intentional in his living. This man, he is a pioneer in soca music. I didn't know anything about soca till I got to the country, and now, man, I like it. I do. It makes you dance like nobody's watching. It makes your feet get happy, and especially when it has a message as powerful as Mr. Ninja Dad. It makes you, as some of the kids would say, stay woke. So that's what we're doing this evening, man. We're going to slow it down. We're going to be. If you need assistance where you are, we'll have the phone lines open later on in the show, and we're going to be interactive on WhatsApp and Facebook, and all is well. And I really do mean that. I want to shout out to the gentleman that I had an opportunity, and I promised him I won't say your name, but he's incarcerated right now, and he reached out to me and he thanked me for being on the island. He thanked me for having a show like this, and I wept bitterly. I did, because I didn't know that my reach would be there. But I'm grateful for you, sir, and for all of those who are watching. Thank you so, so very much. So, coming up right after this break, we're going to have Jonathan Ninja Dan St. Rose. All right, stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Miss Tongie is one of the most amazing people I have ever met in my entire life. She is someone that I would consider to be a mentor, a spiritual mother, a confidant, a family, dear, dear family friend. And I am so blessed to have her in my life. She is someone that I could call on during my hardest moments of life, and she'd pray for me and support me all the way through. And also someone who taught me how to cherish the good moments that come with life. And I just thank God every day that I have her and I can call on her. She truly is a blessing to this world.
Hey, it's your girl, Dr. Tongie. From the Dr. Tongie Show. Are you ready to maximize your business exposure? Of course you are. Why not consider placing an ad right here with me on the Dr. Tongie Show on DBS? Hey, you already know who it is. It's your girl, Dr. Tongie. And I'm with
Shama.
And Shama, where do you watch the show?
On DBS.
And tell me
Mustangs
why.
on my phone.
Really? Tell me why you watch the show.
so long. I'm not able to say, honestly, I'm not able to say.
She's lost the words.
But you're a role model. You're just you're a nice person, and then you push, you tell, you give, like, you give us something to live on, something to go. So that's ahead of you.
You make me cry. I swear you had to make me say it.
No, you didn't. I'm on. That's why I love you. Always tell us to stay. You give us positive feedback. So, yeah.
All right. Watch out for Shama when you're up in the north, all right? You go over and tell them where they can find you.
I'll meet you restaurant.
Bye. This is Dr. Tongie. I'm from a little town called Columbus, Mississippi, and I've come all the way here to show you exactly how you can live abundantly. Fear is nothing. You hear me? You can do anything you put your mind to. I'm your girl, Dr. Tongie. We're going to do life together. And we are back. Thank you so very much. I'm your friend Tongie, and you are hanging out with me on Talk to Tongie. Thank you, because again, I'm excited for tonight's guest. I told you that it is an honor and a privilege to have someone who is living life intentionally, someone who, I'll let you hear his story, and you'll hear what some of the things that he's had to go through and how he's truly making a difference. And when I tell you that this man is powerful, man, I'm sweating over here. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Mr. Jonathan Ninja Dan St. Rose. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Oh my God. Thank you for being here. I don't take it lightly or for granted. I know that you could have been anywhere you wanted to be on the island tonight, and you chose to hang out with me. So for that, I am truly, truly grateful, Dad.
Yeah, man, much appreciated.
So, I've got this proverbial question that I ask all of my guests. How did you get here? And, someone said, well, I took the bus, or I took a taxi, or I'm like, yeah, I get it. But how did you get to be who you are? You can't be as strong and as powerful as you are without going through something, right?
Yeah, man.
So let us in on where you hail from and your love for music and what you do now.
Okay. Where do I begin? Where did I hail from? Where I came from, I was born and raised in the city of Castries, in Marshall, Bagatelle area to be exact.
Okay.
I was born of Teresa St. Rose, who is now deceased, my mom, and my father, Theophilus McGowan. But I was raised by my grandparents at the age of 3 months old.
Wow.
Yeah. So you find it was like the Guamun or the elderly raised me as a baby.
Gotcha.
And ever since I could remember certain snippets of my life from 1 year old to 2 year old to 3 year old until I grew up to what I'm now. And one of the things that had a conflict within me was that me being taken away from my mom at such a young age
Gotcha.
had that kind of impact on me, that I want to be there for my mom, or I want to be close to my mom because I'm seeing everybody else have their mother. But I'm kind of unfortunate to not raise up with my mom.
For sure.
And but the experience with my grandparents was the greatest.
Yeah.
The greatest experience. I don't think anyone was blessed with what I was blessed with, by raising with my two grandparents, Mr. Vernon McGowan and Miss Anne-Marie McGowan. Yeah. I could remember at preschool, my preschool at age of 2 years at Salvation Army, my grandma used to always come and meet me at 3 o'clock. And she used to always wipe my face for saliva, make sure she clean my face for saliva, then kind of granny love, and I should kiss up my face. I mean, I could still feel that vibe of love and emotion, as a grandma raising a young little boy, 3 months old, Yeah. And as hard and difficult as it was, they always try to teach me what is right.
Yeah.
One thing though, it was kind of taboo for me. I never really get to play with the guys or the boys or the young children in the neighborhood at the time, because my grandparents were thinking differently from the other parents in the community. They wanted to kind of keep me tight, and sometimes they would tie me to the chair and to make sure that I don't run outside. And I mean, it was painful. It was I don't know. It was a learning process for me.
For sure.
Especially my grandfather now. My grandfather was like the militant kind of guy. At the age of 5 years old, he started teaching me how to go and fish.
Wow.
And I used to be with my grandfather carrying fish pots and big bags in my hand. I have to be walking like miles from Bagatelle to go all the way to Hospital Road in a little canoe, and we used to be rowing across the harbor and dropping fish pots in the sea at 5 years old.
5 years old.
And I could remember my grandfather tell me that, yeah, today you're going to learn how to swim, you know.
Yeah.
So I was scared, and he ended up throwing me in the water.
Oh, come on.
And he threw me in the water now. I didn't swim, I just sank.
Yeah.
And I could actually see him. I'm watching him up, and I could actually see him telling me, come up, come up. And I just walk out of the water, you know. And he tell me, but you didn't. He tell me, but you didn't swim. It's not fun. I threw you in the water to swim, and you just walk out from under the water. I mean, experiences with my grandparents was just out of this world, you know. From a young age, at 7, 8, 9 years, I was already into farming.
Wow.
I was already into planting and weeding and taking care of gardens and stuff for my grandparents. So the toughness of my life now as a grown man started when I was a child.
For sure.
And these kind of brought up, see, you don't really get it now.
But
I appreciate it. At the time, as a youth, I did not appreciate it. I'd hated it. I'd hated my grandfather for waking me up 3 o'clock in the morning to go and call Jaws or go and call somebody at Bagatelle. And I used to be scared as young as I was to be walking in that darkness and to go and call somebody to assist. I mean, that is the greatest lesson.
Amen.
Toughest lesson. That was lessons for a king.
Yes.
That was lessons for a leader. Not anybody could go through them kind of fire.
Absolutely.
And then appreciate it and embrace it, and then use it as a tool to teach others that come in after, you know.
Wow.
Even as a youth, my grandparents didn't want me to go to high school because they was poor. And she would say to me that my children didn't go to high school, so you ain't got no money to send you to school. And I could remember the day when common entrance came, and she told me, you mean you're not going nowhere today, you know, not to sneak out.
Oh, wow.
And go and sit my common entrance, you know, with that fear, boy, I hope I don't pass. Because if I pass, like, Granny will send me to school. But nevertheless, I still went and I did it. And being a poor child or being a child that has minimal expression.
For sure.
When you hear, you know, you do your mathematics exam and you hear all the bright kids in the class saying, boy, I get 45 for that answer and I get 40 for that answer. And I there one day like, boy, wow, I don't get none of them answers or so.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't pass, you know.
Right.
So you hearing all the bright kids saying, boy, they get this and they got that. On the day of results, I was scared. I did not go for my results. I went in the farm. And, you know, when you go in on the farm, you pour. You have your old little pants, your short pants, and your boots in your foot, and your old shirt, and your grandfather hat, you know?
Yeah.
So I could remember I had cutting grass, and I heard them little chattering coming towards me, and it was my friends from my class. And they used to call me Shorty at the time. They say, Shorty, why you come and take your results? I was like, man, forget it.
Yeah.
I ain't going to take no results, you know? They tell me, no, man, you pass. I said, you mean I pass? They say, you pass for compre. I say, you lie. They say, yes. And you know how kids just get on. They marry and they excite. And they say, come, Shorty, come. Teacher waiting for you and come. And then they drag me from all up by the hair school, because that's where we are, the farm.
Yeah.
They dragged me from the hair school and they brought me inside the master school. It was Miss Marilyn Bain. That was my teacher at the time, standard 4. And when she saw me, she hugged me. She told me, Jonathan. And she hugged me. She told me, you pass a compre?
Yeah.
I said, Miss, you lie. She said, yes. She said, yes, put the paper there.
Yeah.
I was afraid. I was happy. I was afraid. I was bitter. I was afraid. I was happy because I didn't want to tell my grandparents I passed because I knew they would tell me, go away.
For sure.
So the kids, like, they kind of sense it and they say, come on, man, let's go. We'll see your grandma. They made a block hole. They made a mob and they come and start shouting, hey, Miss Anne.
Oh, dear gosh.
Your son passed for Castries Conference. She said, yeah. She said, my son, my Jonathan. And I was like,
wow.
Tell me, wow. And she told me, Selby, I don't have money to send you to school. So I said that. But God was so favorable to me at such a young age that I got 2 scholarships.
Oh, come on.
I got 1 scholarship from the Teachers Union and I got 1 scholarship from my father's workplace, which was the SLASPA. Yeah? And that's how I was able to start my journey from primary school to secondary school.
Wow. And you remember this as if it was like yesterday. What is it that makes you remember every? I feel like I was there.
The pain, the tears, the hurt, the strength, the joy, the happiness, and the lessons you learn from the experiences. Because I'll tell you one thing, as a human being, we are the Bible.
That's it.
We live in characteristics of certain people in the Bible at certain times of our life.
Amen.
And at a young age, when I went to Castries Comprehensive School, I was 10 years old. And I got a lot of bullying. A lot of carrot behind my head, and I was short, and and
for sure.
Yeah, and then from Form 3, I got a sore on my feet, and that sore started as a button, and then that sore grew out of proportion in the sense of no doctors couldn't heal my feet, and I was young, and I could remember my grandfather saying to my grandmother, "Hey, check on this young man's feet." And they was about to cut my feet because
come on,
it was already turning black.
For sure.
And I mean, it's sad. It's a sad thing to say. I want to big up my principal from Castries Comprehensive, Mr. Jeremy Joseph.
Thank you.
Because I was going through a depression mode at that time at such a young age. I think I was about 13 years there. And I had this sore on my feet, and it was smelling, and it had this kind of punch and kind of odor of a dead rat. And sometimes when I was in the class, you would hear the other children say, "But miss, they have a smell of a dead rat," but nobody knew it was my feet. And I used to be praying, and I used to be hiding and being away from everybody else, from the class and from the school, and I used to go and hide at the back of the school. And I telling God, guys, about how comes a young man like me could be bearing something like Job, which is much older and greater than me. And I used to hear the voice of Jah telling me, just be patient, son. Just be patient. What is there for you, you don't understand it yet. But I was young, and I couldn't lie around the other kids. And then I went and do CXC. And then when the results came, I did not get my results. Principal asked to see my parents, and then I was afraid because, like, boy, my father was like a master. Everything, he would have beat me. Check it. And the principal too was a thing, used to beat us to it, but kudos to that. And when I brought my father to the school, you say, Mr. Centros, that's your father? I say yes. He said, "Hi, I'm Principal Joe, and so and so. I brought you here because I have a special." So I tremble in, I have butterflies in my belly, and I see he opened the drawer, and he took out a slip of paper. He said, "How did you do it?"
Jeez.
I said, "What?" He said, "But you passed your CXC, you got good marks, you're going to graduate." I said, "So you lied, that's my paper." He said, "Yes. And I wanted to tell it to you in front of your father, I'm proud of you." And then I told him about my my incident with my feet. And he
Yeah,
said, but how
yeah.
come you didn't reach out? I said, no. If I reach out, you would have expelled me from school and I would not have time to finish my school properly and stuff.
So you sacrificed your health. Jeez,
I sacrificed
come
my
on.
childhood
Yeah.
lifestyle in terms of playing with the other kids and liming with the other kids and being feared of being bullied because of I didn't want nobody to know what I was suffering from. And that was just the beginning of my journey as an individual. You understand? As in spite I went through all these things at a very young age, I always wanted to be important. Important in the sense of not just being rich or famous,
I
but
got you.
important in the sense of causing some kind of change in people's lives at a young age.
Is it, do you think, now that you're of age, do you think because your voice wasn't being heard, the situation, you're not having mommy and you're having grandparents that reared you and you're not being able to go to school at that time and in particular times on your journey, do you think you wanted to help even then?
I wanted to help my mommy first and foremost, priority. Because I could remember at the age of 11 years, I escaped my grandparents' home to go back and stay with my mom.
Oh, wow.
Because I felt I was man enough to take care of my mom because I had two other siblings, two other sisters.
Yeah.
And I wanted to protect them. And my mom, she was sick. She had a hole in her heart. Lord, help her soul, And she couldn't work. And she was being supported by the other family members. So by she having me as a child to take care of, it was kind of difficult. So she sent me away with my grandparents.
Wow.
But that was difficult for me to deal with. That was a traumatizing time for me. Because every young boy wants to be close to his mom.
Absolutely. I can even imagine.
Every young daughter wants to be close to their dad.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I had to grow up knowing that I cannot be close to my mom. Yeah. And I could remember a time when the doctors gave her like a couple of days to live. And the rest of the family, they actually did a week for her.
Yeah.
And I came from school. I think I was going to primary school. I came from school and I said, but mom, what's going on outside? She told me, don't study that, man. I'm not dying, Don't study them.
Yeah.
They think but I'm not dying.
Yeah.
Son, go in the room. So I jumped my mom, and she was watching that program on the TV, Ep.19, some kind of Christian kind of thing, and she had her hands on the TV. I said, but mom, what you doing? She told me, don't worry, son. I have to see your child and all my children.
Yeah.
And at such a young age, I did not understand what she meant until when I had a son. Jelani, and my sisters, Iris and Sancho, they bore children before me. And when my son was born, I think that was the last sign of my mother being alive.
Sure.
I was going in town and then something tell me in my ears that, hey, go and see mom. So I brought the baby and see her, and then she named him.
Yeah.
And then 3 days after, she gone.
Jeez.
And she gone like that, and she sees like that. So I knew my mom was a powerful woman in spite of how poor she was.
Yeah.
And I think that I inherited that spirit from her.
Absolutely.
And when my mom died, I got even stronger, even more stronger into being who I am now, because when my mom died, it taught me a lot about life at a young age.
Yeah.
That I need to be dependent on myself. I need to sustain myself. I can't depend on nobody else.
For sure.
Because there are a lot of things my mom told me before she died. And that kind of motivated me to hold my ground,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm listening to your story, and I'm hearing just a myriad of emotions and feeling them. How do you move past knowing that mom is there and your grandparents, your loving grandparents are there standing in her stead, and how do you not get angry, or do you not take on bitterness, and how do you move past depression? And I'm just listening and I'm thinking, my God, I'm trying to compartmentalize everything you're saying, and I can only imagine what you had to go through. Yeah. But your relationship with Job was so very important, even as a young child. And I don't want to rush that, because I know that we may have someone who's watching and you're wondering, I hear what he's saying. You know, he's a big soca man, but to know that he's human. You know, we have those human moments in our lives, and sometimes we don't understand. We want to live by the Spirit, but yet we're faced with human atrocities. I need you to stay tuned with us as we delve a little further into the man who is just making waves, you know, in life in this country. Be right back. Stay tuned.
You are absolutely amazing. A breath of fresh air, a true light in the darkness, and I am so grateful for you, because you are amazing, and you truly have added so much value to my life that I'm beyond grateful that God has allowed our paths to cross. And I feel honored to be able to make this video and to talk about you and give you your flowers and just mention the numerous ways that you have significantly impacted my life, because you have. And I don't know what my life would have been like without you, and I don't think I want to, because you have planted seeds in me that have impacted the person that I am today, and I thank you for that. And you've also planted seeds that help catapult my relationship with Christ. You've shown me how to walk out being a kingdom citizen in a world that, you know, isn't necessarily conducive for that. And you've shown me what it's like to share the love of Christ, to be that light, and to share that joy and that peace and that comfort. And I thank you for that, because it gets hard, but you are such a warrior and such a true inspiration that you've helped me find the tools to make that possible. And I'm forever grateful. I love you so much.
Hey, it's your girl, Dr. Tongie. You know, from the Talk to Tongie show. Are you ready to maximize your business exposure? Of course you are. Why not consider placing an ad right here with me on the Talk to Tongie show on DBS? Hey, it's your girl, Dr. Tongie, and I'm with Lizzie. And Lizzie, tell everybody what show you go to. She watches on DBS, and tell us why.
It's very entertaining.
Entertaining. Isn't she gorgeous? I swear to you, I didn't pay her to say it. Check me out on DBS Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. Bye. This is Dr. Tongie. I'm from a little town called Columbus, Mississippi, and I've come all the way here to show you exactly how you can live abundantly. Fear is nothing. You hear me? You can do anything you put your mind to. I'm your girl, Dr. Tongie. We're going to do life together. And we are back. Thank you for hanging out with your friend Tongie on Talk to Tongie. And we're peeling back the layers of this dynamic, prolific, soca, genre-loving, God-fearing man. I could go on and on and on. Just, Ninja Dan, you are incredible. You know that. You do.
Thank you.
But I do know that even when we are called for greatness, There are some journeys that can kind of be dark, and we don't really understand the entire landscape of what we're about to go through. Would you walk us in? And we're going to open up the phone lines this evening now, okay? I'm going to go ahead and give a number. I know the number. Help me now. 451-9788 is the studio number. And when we get to that point where you're needing to call in, we want you to call in and share your experiences or ask questions. We are a community where we are very respectful, yeah, and we operate in honesty, openness, and sincerity, but we're not here to be ugly, as my mama would say from Mississippi, who better be watching. How do you move from going to school and you're doing good in school and you're wonderful Mr. Joseph, right? The
Yes.
principal who saves your foot. How do you go from there to, now what, God? Your Job moment. And now it's a Joseph moment.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right, for my Bible scholars, you know what I'm talking. Walk us through as much as you will, please.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Well, even before the Joseph moment, I was in the glory of my fame and singing and performing and traveling worldwide.
Wow.
As Ninja Dan, as a soca artist, also as a Caribbean soca artist, as a Caribbean soca monarch. Yeah. How to start? I was incarcerated for something that I did not even know about. I was brought into the station and they said to me, you come and give a statement about the situation, your child mother being abused or whatever. And not knowing that I was being pursued for a murder charge. So when I reached in the station, the officer asked me if I want a cigarette. I said, cigarette for what? He told me, bro, because what I'm about to tell you, I think you will need a cigarette. So I said, what you are to tell me so much that I need cigarette to smoke? And then the boss told me that, you've been arrested and charged for murder.
Jeez.
I didn't take it serious at the time because that had no existence within me. Like, it was a big joke. I said, you sure, me? You sure?
You're touring at this time.
So,
and
yeah.
You're well
so
known.
I said, bro, you sure it's me? He told me, yeah. It's my name call and thing. And like, when the other people came in to process me, take my stuff, intimate stuff, sample stuff, I said, officer, but how can y'all give me this accusation and I'm not in no fighting clothes or I have no mark on no skin? My clothes is intact and but why would you? The officer said to me he got a call from higher authority, and then I was just like, okay. And I just like released myself and just anticipated the process. And me going in the station thinking that I'm going to give a statement of the situation, how I end up reaching there, it ended up switching on me. A lawyer ended up come in and say that, and I said that because I don't know what's going on. It's my first time on a murder case. And that was the last I saw of freedom.
Jeez. What year is this, if you don't
This
mind
was in
asking?
2009. It was February 14th, 2009. And like, I just say my whole world just kind of collapsed in front of me, Even when I was going and get charged, like they had hundreds and thousands of people by the courthouse. And then and there I felt like the character of Christ when he's going to be crucified.
Come on.
And I'm saying, officer, that's where I have to walk. He tell me, yep. You say, you all right? I say, yeah, man, I'm cool. And I'm walking, and I'm seeing all these fingers pointing at me, and I'm saying, but Jah, look at these same fingers that pointing on me. These the same people I used to be helping and putting my neck on the line for, and sacrificing myself for, and pushing myself out there for. And these same people pointing their hands on me. And like I'm reaching out to them in the eyes because I'm watching them in the eyes, and then they're putting down their head, and I say, but hey, guys, like you're not seeing like what going on there is not real. And like when I was being brought inside of prison itself, it was scary because like everybody was watching and taunting and saying, but look at the guy who used to be promoting stop the violence in the communities and in the schools, and he's arrested and charged for a murder case. So I was in a dark place, and I was angry because I was like, why no one not seeing that, hey, y'all are wrong? Why nobody not questioning themselves and say, but hey, how could Ninja Dan?
Sure.
And sadly, 3 months into my incarceration, I was strong because I didn't believe what was actually manifesting. I thought it was a big joke.
For sure.
And after the 3 months, that's when it really hit me that, yeah, boy, you inside for murder. And that was my first suicide attempt.
Come on.
Is because like I'm thinking like those young men on the outside thinking that I'm a killer for true and I'm a murderer for true. So it's like they're gonna say like, hey, if Ninja Dan could do it, I could do it too. And I was like, I broke down from there, and I was saying like, God, please don't let them youths and them think that way. And like I started crying. I said, boy, how did I reach here? And actually, I was being housed in a condemned cell because they say I was too influential. They didn't want to put me in the general population.
Okay.
And like I was crying and saying, but how did I get here, bro? You innocent and you behind bars, and look the place where they hanging people, you dead. I said, Jah, what message you trying to send for me? And then I seen that little bottle in the corner of the concrete cleaner, and I said, boy, done, just drink that and everything gone. No more halakasi, no more stress, no more depression, nobody just accusing you. Just drink that thing and just done. And just as about to go and take that just fall from my hand, and like I could hear a voice telling me, hey, bro, you're made for this.
Wow.
You're made to walk that path so then you could come out and you could teach the younger ones how it is. I could not understand that at the time because I was in pain. I was in turmoil, I was angry, I was sad, I was painful, but I heard that little voice telling me, just hold it. Be still. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Wait. I am there.
And you knew the voice because as a child, you had the relationship.
Yes.
So you knew you weren't losing your mind in that instance, yes?
Yeah, as hard as it was and as unbelievable as it was, because just imagine a question for the public. Someone just take you out of your comfort zone randomly and just drop you in a concrete cell and just accuse you of murder and killing, Gaza, without your knowledge.
Jesus.
You know how crushed you're gonna be. You know how, I don't even know the word to put it.
I got you.
And you have to deal with that. And then you have to deal with the situation where your family now start to watch you warily. Your friends turn their back turn their back from you, and you in a world by yourself. It's just you and God, and just God just comforting you through that pain and telling you, hey, I know you're weak, I know you're about to collapse, but hold it.
Yeah.
Hold it. So I was angry at first in terms of I used to be shouting at the officers, but then I channeled my energy through reading.
Aye.
That was my first lesson, reading. And by started reading, I started increasing my vocabulary. I used to read a lot of John Grisham books, you know, so I learned a lot about courts. And I read Road to Freedom from Nelson Mandela, and that's where I got real inspiration into how to survive prison. Because being the person I was on the outside, Ninja Dan, being all ignorant and arrogant and famous and all swell-headed. You going inside of this, so you start acting stupid and foolish. But then by reading now, I get to understand that, hey, for you to survive inside of this place, you have to be on a respectful level with the officers.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, when you're locked up behind them bars, is the officers are going to
That's
get
it.
your blankets,
Yeah.
officers are to try and get you your medication, officers are to
Absolutely.
get you to doctor. So you have to behave yourself and try and be respectful to the officers. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
And whilst I was being housed in the condemned unit, I had to embrace all the negativity. I didn't reject it or I didn't repel it. I embraced it.
For sure.
I embraced the derogatory statements that were being sent at me. I embraced the negative comments. I embraced the old attitudes from the officers, you know, because you being a celebrity and you come into jail in the murder case, everybody's on your
For
case.
sure.
Everybody's
Absolutely.
trying to muscle you. And I just have to remain humble and say, hey, I'm going to beat this. Now, I'm not going to beat this just in front of the judge. I'm going to beat this every walk,
Come on.
every talk,
Come on.
every step. Everything I do, everything I say, everything I think is one of the ways of how I'm going to win my case. And the journey began there for me, where I started walking in the fire, and that's where it just started molding me into what I am now.
Wow. Hey.
Because they kept me away from education. I remember there was a big scandal in Bordelais at the time where they say I had an affair with one of the directors, the female directors, and she won a whole lump sum of money. And everything just blown out of proportion, and like I was being housed and being telling the officers, make sure that I don't go outside, I don't go to education, I don't go to religion, I don't go to...
Yeah.
And I embrace that still, you know, and say, nevertheless, guys, I still gonna
For sure.
make it positive. So I was like the avatar. I alchemize all the negative energy around me, and I end up turning it into positive. So that's where I started doing new music
Yeah.
and started writing not in the sense of just writing material, but writing my plans for when I get on the outside.
Yes.
And one of the things prisoners need to realize, inmates need to realize, is that when you're on the inside, you need to have intentions, because intentions is very critical in your life on the outside. Because being on the inside is just one part of the mission, but being free from prison is just another part of the journey. It's like you climbing a mountain to go down to climb another mountain, because after you come out of prison now, this is the most difficult part, where you're out of one society and you have to be accepted into the greater society, which is kind of a dark place, because nobody don't want to accept you. Society play hypocrite with you. They tell you one thing in one eye, and then in another eye they tell you, they close their eye, like, you know, they don't want to see you. Your family don't want to embrace you, because your family fear the repercussions of what, you know, everybody have their own agenda, their
Absolutely.
own perceptions. And you just in the wilderness by yourself. Now, for me, when I got out of prison, that is for another story of how I got out of prison. It wasn't the court system here that would release me. It was the free judges from overseas.
Oh, come on.
And even before I jump on the outside, there is something that was going on in the prison, and it is still going on now, where there are a lot of innocent
Yes.
inmates, and they're being treated as convicts, or they're being treated as criminals. When an inmate is at Bordelais and he's not tried, he's quote unquote a civilian with just the government clothes on him. He's not a convict, he's not tried. And then the officers at Bordelais are not trained in that capacity to deal with these types of individuals, and so they treat them as convicts, and they have the whole
For sure.
syllabus or jail constitution as convicts or as, how you put it, penitentiary. But then you have the remands in the wrong place. Remands are being held for 14 to 16 to 17 to 18 years. And here what they do. Remands never get a free trial. It's almost like the remands and them are getting jail, and you have to prove your innocence, that you never get a chance to prove your innocence. And then most of the time when you see the inmate start causing a stir, the next thing they're going to do, and especially you, Mr. DPP, you know yourself, what you just do, you send a plea bargain. Because you know the individual want to get out. You know the individual want freedom. No one want to stay behind bars in this kind of filthy kind of place, and them kind of treatment, them kind of humiliation. No one want to remain in that kind of zone. So when you get that plea bargain, you're quick to take that because you want to go outside. You want to go home to your family. But when you take that plea bargain, you're destroying a young man's life that could be contributing so much positively to our society, to build our country as a nation. And then you destroy someone's life just because, well, you want to have an extra thing under your belt. You're wrong for that. And that's what's going on in our justice system. That's why there's a backlog of cases, and there's more and more cases. So how these cases are going to be solved?
Wow.
How these cases are going to be solved? And when you're putting out youths on the streets with a criminal record, does that mean that you want better for our youths? Does it mean that you want better for our young men? Because when our young men come out of prison, there is nothing in place for them. There is not a half house, so they could go and get some kind of counseling or some kind of rehab kind of vibe. So for me, I had to rehabilitate myself. And rehabilitating myself was something magical. First thing first, when I came out of prison, one of my first plans was to go back into the music. Notice I take a deep breath. When I got back into the music, I was rejected from my musical fraternity. My brothers and sisters, they rejected me.
Because of their perception.
Yes,
I see.
Of my incarceration.
Absolutely.
And they went to another level, but I choose not to go there yet. And then, your mic giving me problem in my ears there.
Sorry. Live television.
Yeah, the mic falling from my ears and all.
We'll fix it at break. Fix it at break. You
but,
just speak, please.
What I was saying again.
The rehabilitation.
The rehabilitation
yes.
now. When I got into the music now, I got rejected from my peers. And then I had to move away from castries.
Jesus.
I had to move away from castries in the sense of like, wow. The people that I put on a stage, the artists that I put on a stage, and I nurtured them, and they turned their back on me, like that kind of devastated my energy,
And that's where, if you don't mind, I want to kind of peel back that layer of rejection, because oftentimes as a strong black man or a strong black woman, we are running through that fire of rejection because we can carry so much, not realizing that we need to deal with that. How do you deal with the enormous weight, the gravity of you're living your life, you're being a blessing to people, and you're living out a dream from a little boy who suffered so much, and now this. How do you pick up those pieces to say, yes, I get it, Jai. I'm on this road of redemption, but I gotta deal with this. I can't move in this anger. I can't move with these mental faculties as they are. You went through a transformation, for lack of a better word. How do you deal with the rejection of family, of people that you did put on the stage and that light shone on them?
It put me in a dark place. It put me in between a hard rock and a hard place. I had to make certain decisions,
For sure.
critical decisions, that I had to remove myself from that comfort zone, remove myself and alienate myself from that kind of zone. So I had to disappear from my family for a while, disappear from my singing friends for a while, disappear from just everybody for a while, and just go into a strange place that nobody don't know me and I don't know nobody. And how I got there, I don't know. But I ended up reaching in Chozel. And that's where I was in a whole new place.
There we go.
And I want to big up my lecturer, Mr. Constantine. I end up calling him and saying, "Sir, I'm in Chozel, I'm in your area, so can you give me a little tour, please?" Because I don't know, when I'm on my feet, I didn't have a vehicle at the time. And I asked him to give me a tour of the place because I was scared,
For sure.
I was scared because I didn't know who I was walking by or who I was.
For sure.
So he laughed and he said, "Don't worry, man, you'll get the hang of it." And he showed me 1-2 routes and how to get to and fro. And that's where it began for me,
Wow.
And that's why I went into farming on a different level, because there was this guy, he gave me a piece of land and he said I could have done my farming,
Wow.
But it was a big piece of mountain, but it had a lot of bush. And the people from the area was laughing at me because they were saying that, "Hey, you from the city, what do you know about farming?" So I was like, "Yeah, I'm from the city. How do you mean what I know about farming?" So when I hired some guys to come and preparation for this stuff, for the farming stuff, the kind of bush that was there, it was kind of itchy, it was poisonous and itchy. They call it pagwate. So you find a lot of the guys did not want to go and do the work. So like everything was left to me.
Wow.
So I stayed and I said, "Jah, how I'm gonna cut that mountain of grass by myself?" And I had a little voice tell me, "Bro, use your what do you call that, the spray, your chemicals, and add a little gasoline." So I sprayed the thing and added a little gasoline, and 3 days after I came back and everything was kind of drying up, and I had a little voice tell me, "Fire."
Nice.
So when I put the fire, I light the matches, I went at the bottom of the hill and I light the strike.
Yeah.
You ever see Indiana Jones? When you have to be running from the bomb?
Yep.
Yeah, well,
That you?
I have to be running from, because the wind take that fire and just...
Like a
So I have to be
tornado.
running for cover.
jeez.
But then when I look behind me after, the place was clean.
Aye.
I said, "Jah, give thanks." Because you end up using the elements of
There you
wind
go.
and fire,
There
and you
you
just
go.
cause a
Absolutely.
good destruction,
Yeah.
And that is where everything started magically for me, because I still had the anger towards my accusers. But then when I started putting seeds in the ground and I started seeing hundreds of plants growing, instantly it changed my perception of life. I forgave and I understood and I kind of embraced the rejection.
Wow.
And embrace the darkness, because if I did not embrace the rejection and the darkness, how would I give it to
Come on.
positive, and how would I be able to give that light, and how would I be able to defeat darkness if I don't succeed positively?
You're going to make me jump out of my skin, dude. I don't want to jump out of my skin this evening. I want to hang out with what you said, because oftentimes, and we're going to get into it right after this break, but oftentimes forgiveness is one of those calling cards that we don't want to really read or answer. And I want to talk about that because it's a big word. It is. So don't forget, we've got our phone lines open. Good. I told you you're going to be in for a treat, didn't I? I told you so. Stay tuned. We'll be right back right after these quick messages.
My dearest Tongie, you have been a person who has impacted my life in so many ways. You have added such value and love to my life, and I hold you in high regard to that. I say thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for showing up when the chips were down. You have been my rock, my sister, my prayer partner, and my friend. Thank you for sharing your children. We have a special son together, Morgan. But you have also shared Taisha and Tyrone with me. And I love them as if they were my own. My daughter Megan loves you as well. And she calls you Mama T. And I'm sure you know that. Well, people would wonder, how are we related? And how do we share such immeasurable love? So let me tell you. I know this is unheard of love. And I wish everyone could experience the love that we share. We are family. Tongie was my husband's first wife. He is now deceased. But when I say this woman and her family stood by me and mine. Whew. When Max Scott, who we refer to as Terry, because that's always been his nickname, when he departed this life, who was my husband, Tangie's first husband, she came to my house with support in tow. Tongie, Stacy, and Taisha. We put the devil on notice that night. We prayed for strength, understanding that surpasses all others, and healing. That night, God delivered. He gave me what I wanted, and He gave me what I needed. Years ago when we met, we bonded right away. Never an unkind word from her. Never a falling out. Never across anything. I have called on you, Tongie, so many times. And you've been there every time. I'll never forget the calls, the prayers in the wee hours of the morning for anything, the financial support, the calls just to keep me in the loop, the birthday calls, the songs, of course, all of our texts, and the visits. They've all been special. And you, my friend, sister, I love you. Tongie Scott, my hat is off to you, and I love you forever.
Hey, it's your girl, Dr. Tongie. You know, from the Talk to Tongie show. Are you ready to maximize your business exposure? Of course you are. Why not consider placing an ad right here with me on the Talk to Tongie show on DBS? This is Talk to Tongie. I'm from a little town called Columbus, Mississippi, and I've come all the way here to show you exactly how you can live abundantly. Fear is nothing. You hear me? You can do anything you put your mind to. I'm your girl, Talk to Tongie. We're going to do life together. And we are back. Thank you so very much for hanging out. We're normally off the air by this time, but this amazing life force, this amazing spirit needed a little bit more time than we normally would have. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you hanging out with us. I do not take it lightly or for granted. I really do not. And your being here is just... it's the icing on the cake. I'm here with Ninja Dan, and he is again, prolific. He's our soca man. He's more than just music. He's rhythm. He's spirit. He walks with Jah and is an absolute amazing representation of who he is. So thank you again, sir, for being here and being so open and honest and sincere and speaking from that place where that soul rests. The soul is indicative of your mind, your will, and your emotions. And I am grateful that you are here.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about Rise and everything that you're doing in the community and the people that you get to touch, these young folk. But I wanna talk just a second about forgiving.
Yes.
That's a big word, and from my neck of the woods, I would always hear, I forgive you, but I won't forget it. And I'm thinking as I'm growing up in life, but my scriptures that I read say that he not only forgives us, but he throws our sins into this sea of forgetfulness. So forgiving and forgetting are one and of the same. And when I say that to people, they are oftentimes, well, you don't understand the gravity of what happened. Well, I don't have to understand it. If you got a relationship with him, then you should understand the gravity of forgiving and forgetting. How important, because you're out there again. You are, and people know your name. And I got DMs and people like Tequila Paul that says, "Wow, God is alive." You better believe he is, honey. How do you pick up the pieces and walk in forgiving and forgetting?
Well, for you to move forward, you must forgive. If you don't forgive, there is a scripture in the Bible. I never forgotten that scripture. Matthew chapter 6 verse 14. I could remember I was 7 years old when some clowns came to teach me that passage. If you forgive men when they sin against you, your Father will forgive you. But if you don't forgive men, that means Jah will not forgive you. And for me to move forward and to move forward with my life, I had to forgive my accusers and say, now, they didn't know what they did. And I used that forgiveness, and I wanted to share light. Yeah. I went into the farming. It didn't work to a certain point, and then I went into the fishing. It worked on a certain level, but then I realized that wasn't my calling. My calling was helping the generation coming after me.
Wow.
And when everybody else was telling me go into music, I decided to go into the schools. And my journey began from my alma mater school, which is Masha Combined Primary School. That's where I began my journey, and I started talking to the youths about conflict resolution, conflict management, how to maneuver conflict, how to resolve conflict without violence, how to understand different perceptions and different opinions from people, and then move forward without causing a problem.
For sure.
And it was a journey. Currently now I'm at 70 schools.
70.
Yes, 70.
Wow.
We have a total population of 86 schools in our country, between primary and secondary. So I'm at 70 now. I started from last year, and right now that we're into the second phase, which is not conflict management anymore, but behavioral change.
Okay, we've got a call. Caller, you're on with Dr. Tongie, or your friend Tongie and Ninja Dan.
Hi, Tongie. Hi, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Can you hear me, Jonathan?
Yes.
Jonathan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you.
We hear you.
Okay, great. This is Linda. We go way back. I think Jonathan, was the one who was the first person, I think, who had the first big soca explosion show in St. Lucia.
Yes.
If I'm not wrong, I think this was you, Jonathan, that had that first show in St. Lucia, and then every year after that you had another show.
Yes, it was NG Soca stage.
Right.
Myself
because
and
we were
Coyote
with you
first
at
one.
that point.
Yes.
I don't care what you did or what you didn't do. You were out, you were making amends, you were doing things that benefit people, benefit children at this point. And I'm going to give you a commitment that whatever school you go to, just give me a call, we will follow you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Jesus said, those without stones, cast the first stone.
Yes, I. And what's your name again, my lady?
Junior, I'm having difficulty hearing them.
What's your name again? I didn't hear your name properly.
I'm not hearing you, Jonathan.
Oh, she said she not hear me. I didn't get your
no.
name.
We were asking for your name, dear.
I'm sorry, Tongie, what did he say?
Your
A name.
uh-huh.
I didn't get your name.
Okay. We're gonna definitely connect once we. No worries. We got you. Our control guy is gonna make sure to get your name and number.
Yes,
and
yes.
We're gonna
So we could contact you, my lady.
absolutely. Linda.
Linda. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I.
Oh yes, our Linda. Linda Dyer.
Oh. Big up, Linda.
Hey, our Linda.
Oh.
And thank you for DBS.
Thank you for having us.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you, baby. Thank you so very much.
No, but DBS is always not, well, DBS is always there with me when I'm doing a program in the Castries area. I think it might be a little challenge for them to come to the countryside. I don't know how that works, but I mean,
Hey,
they're always there
she
with
put
me.
it out there, man.
Yes,
Take that. We're going to take that.
Give thanks.
Thank you again, Linda. 451-9788 is our number, and we're here with Jonathan St. Rose. And Ninja Dan is what I'm calling you, dude. Because,
Yes.
to go through what you've gone through, you got to be a ninja of some type, right?
Yes.
Now, would you, with the last few minutes that we have here, call? Okay, very good. Hello, you're on there with Dr. Tongie and Ninja Dan.
Yeah, it's me again. I was just wondering how much of what I said he heard.
Oh, yeah, I heard quite a bit.
Absolutely.
I
we
just
did.
did not get your name.
Excellent.
That's our Linda.
Yes, thank
Yep.
you.
Excellent.
Yes, I.
She said
So
everywhere
just
you
give us a
go.
call, Jonathan, when you're ready. Whatever school you go to, whatever talk you're going to have, and we will follow you.
Ha.
I think you're doing something good. I told Tongie she said she needs to get Stephen King on the air also.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Much appreciated.
Because
Absolutely.
Jonathan, Dr. Stephen King, and I, we go way back in
Way
the
back.
rice
Way
program.
back. We started that
Yes.
Stop the Violence ever since that
Stop the violence.
2006.
Correct.
Yes.
And when you're ready to do it, stop the violence, Jonathan, just see me.
Say that
and we can
again.
talk. My dogs are taking over the show.
Respect. Yes,
They're
sir.
saying hello too.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
baby.
Thank you, Linda.
Bye.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow. Everywhere you go, you've got that exposure. I think that's Josh shining some light, don't you?
Yes, yes.
She is one of the ladies that when she says something, she means it.
Yeah, man. I
Absolutely.
mean, as she said, we go way back with Dr.
Absolutely.
Stephen King.
So speak, if you will, Dr. King, and what you guys are doing with Rise.
Okay. Well, we started Rise, myself, Dr. King, and Dr. Bird. We started Rise in the year 2007. And we're 17 years now
Wow.
into existence. And we've done a lot of social development. We've done a lot of work with different communities, the schools, the prisons, the hospitals, the unfortunate, the underprivileged. It's too much that I cannot
sure.
fathom everything, but
For sure.
Rise has been in every household, if I should say, in St. Lucia, doing positive work, whether it be youth development, whether it be helping with school bags and books. And also we have Dr. Sherry as well, who is very resourceful in terms of the back to school drive and the grocery drive for the unfortunate. and the laptops and the devices we were giving to the different students from different schools all around the island. So
Wow.
Rise has done a lot, and we're proud to say we have contributed over multi-million dollars for
Wow.
the people of St. Lucia.
That is amazing. That is
Yeah.
so amazing. I'm getting these chill bumps, man. I'm so grateful that you were able to turn that pain into really gain. And
Yes.
that gain is for the community. You said
Yes.
the next generation.
Next
and
generation.
Yeah, absolutely. You're spot on with that.
Because one of the things I noticed by going to the 70 schools is that the youths coming up after us, they don't know God,
Aye.
they don't know how to pray, they're being abused in many different ways. They have problems inside of their homes, they have problems inside of the schools that have not been rectified. We have no clinical counselors in the schools to deal with the problems of the youths that have been traumatized. On and on and on, more and more and more and more.
For sure.
So that's just a lot of some of the things that I've observed
Uh-huh.
in the schools.
Okay.
You find a lot of kids talking about suicide, and we do not have mechanisms put in place to deal with these things in terms of the social workers, the counselors working hand in hand with people that have the expertise to draw these kids in to get out the problems in their mind and give them some kind of healing.
Then you know what we're going to do? I feel led to open that floor, open that door for those who have the wherewithal to help, for
Yes.
those who have degrees in social work and have the experience and the compassion for others. We're making a call for you.
Yes.
Would you come and help us? I say us because
Yes.
I want to hitch my train to this wagon here. I believe in what you're doing, and I didn't understand going into schools, and we've just started this thing called the Pinky Swear, and I'm giving out cupcakes and just letting little people know that I love you, and that's one of the things that I didn't have.
Nice.
So I would love to assist you in any way that I can. Okay.
Much appreciated.
And we'll get some folk from the U.S. over here, and I'll get some packages together, and you guys give me a call, 470-534-2216 after the show, so we can talk, and I will dedicate that
Yes.
as a way of telling you that I am so grateful that you did not take the poison that was there. And I mean the poison not only from the chemical of your wanting to take your life, because I've been there before and I know what that feels like to be in such a dark place and not have anyone to say, hey, I got you. I am so very, very sorry for your having to go through what you had to go through, but I am so grateful to God
Yeah, man.
that you didn't give up on him, and
True.
you didn't give up on yourself,
Yes,
and you didn't give up on those boys, those babies that crying out, help me.
Yes,
Thank you,
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Jonathan St. Rose.
Thank you, Dr. Tongie.
Thank you so very much. To God be the glory. To God be the glory for this man. I don't know if I could have gone through. I don't know if many of us could have gone through what he went through. But he's living witness that wherever you are right now, just know that you're not by yourself. We are our brother's keepers. I told you when I first got here that it's not about a dress. It's not about pearls. It's not about any of what you may see. I'm grateful to be able to wear it. I am. I don't take it lightly or for granted. But what profit a man or woman to gain the whole world and its soul is lost. Thank you, St. Lucia. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being a demonstration of what love really is. I told you that when I first got here, and we're going to hurry and say this so that my executive will stop looking at me. I told you that if leaving everything that I had to leave to come to a country and serve, then that's what I'm here for. I love you. I do. And I don't have to know your name, but I love you because I have that gift of love. You've blessed me like never before. Thank you, sir. That's our show. Until next time, the Lord said the same and the creek don't rise. We're going to do it again right here. Same time, same station. Be good to yourselves. Be good to others. All right? Okay, that's all.